Well, hey there, happy innovators. How are you guys doing, huh? How you doing? You having a good week? You behaving yourself? You have your cup of coffee with you today? I hope you do, because we're going to do a little bit of talking today. The Singularity podcast, episode 101. Now that we're on the other side of episode 100, and I hope that you guys liked all the content that I put out, the videos and the smash word and the drum videos and all that stuff. I hope that you enjoyed it. And judging by the comments that I got and the reaction that I got from my closest happy innovators, I would say that, yeah, it was a success. And I've got a question for you. Have you ever tried Indian food? Yes? No? Well, I'll tell you what. If you have not tried Indian food, ever, do yourself a favor and find the nearest Indian restaurant closest to you, okay? And treat yourself to anything on the menu, because everything you get at an Indian restaurant, and this is from years of exploration, okay? Anything you can get at an Indian restaurant is absolutely delicious. And don't be surprised if, when you try Indian food for the first time, you don't come to the conclusion that it's the best food you've ever tasted in your life. I mean, I don't know what they do to this food. I don't know what the seasoning is. I've examined it as much as I could. They use a lot of curry and marjoram, I believe it's called, and turmeric, in their cooking. But oh my gosh, the food is so absolutely delicious. And probably at this point now, probably about 20 years ago, some friends of my wife and I took us out, and they introduced us to Indian food for the first time, and it was absolutely delicious, and my wife and I were hooked. Okay, so we found this Indian restaurant that's closer to where we live, and we've been frequenting this place for 20 years. Okay, and of course now with the COVID lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, the business of this Indian restaurant was dramatically altered, but they managed to keep the doors open and they keep the lights on, through serving people takeout, So they used to have, at this Indian restaurant, they used to have a buffet, okay, which is this table where you can kind of pick out whatever you want to eat. There's different dishes that you can grab from and put them on your plate, and you can taste a little bit of everything that they have, and it just is one of those things. It's talk about diversity, and the idea of trying something you've never tried before, and something that is very different from any other cuisine that you're going to taste. It's a celebration of diversity. And I think that we should probably all kind of take a moment to think about that, let's take a moment to really think about this idea of diversity and being able to try things that are different, or being able to choose different experiences that you want to experience. It doesn't sound like it's a very big deal. It doesn't sound like it's anything to really even talk about. But, I think that a lot of the times we take for granted, especially here in America, we take for granted how much diversity there is and how many different options there are for you at any given time with any given subject or whatever, you can go to the grocery store and you can pick out whatever you want. And there's a lot of different things that are available to you. Maybe more so than most other countries, really, right? The grocery stores are massive, and they have all different kinds of food from all around the world, and they all have different prices, and Some are more expensive than others. Some are more exotic than others. And you have everything from, international cuisine from all around the world, all the way down to like Pop-Tarts and, potato chips, like whatever you want. Okay, whatever you want. There's a options, there's choices. It's not all the same. Because as human beings, at least from my experience, okay, we probably shouldn't really want everything to be the same. Like, why would we want everything to be the same? I mean, I guess there's this certain idea of like comfort. You don't want change, you don't want the boat to be rocked or whatever. I get that, but as far as picking and choosing what you want or what you can or cannot get, it's like when you're in a situation where that's controlled by someone else, and the options are limited because of someone else's decision, not yours, that sucks, man, And, to illustrate that point, I bring up the idea of the Indian restaurant with the buffet, where you can kind of like sample a little bit of everything and try the different flavors and the different things. And that's cool. It's absolutely, made me, an Indian food enthusiast. I love that food. I could eat it every day. I love it. And all of it. And, do yourself a favor. Like I said, find the nearest Indian restaurant closest to you and order yourself. Order yourself a dish of chicken tikka masala, okay, with rice and with a side of this bread they call naan. It's Naan, naan. And oh my gosh, it's like a flat bread with like garlic and butter on it. And oh my gosh, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. And I just had some for lunch today. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Do yourself a favor and give it a shot. I promise you will not be disappointed. Okay? Take a chance, roll the dice, get out there, mix it up a little bit, and try Indian food, Do yourself a favor. But, I also wanted to talk about this idea of diversity because I recently had discovered this channel on YouTube, by accident, really. It's called Yoel and Marie. That's the name of the channel. Yoel spelled Yoel, and Marie is spelled Marie. So it's Yoel and Marie. That's the name of the channel. Check it out. This guy is from Cuba, right? And this girl Marie, like him and this girl Marie from America, like hooked up somehow. I'm not sure if they're married or if they're just living together or they're dating or whatever, but the point is that Yoel wound up leaving Cuba to come to America to be with Marie. They're in love. So this YouTube channel is devoted to all of Yoel's, first time American experiences, having left a communist nation and coming to a capitalist nation, right? And oh my gosh, the videos they have, some of them anyway, are so profound. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you. They have this one video where Yoel and Marie go to an American grocery store for the first time, okay? And they're filming the whole thing, okay? So, the idea is to show the contrast and to show Yoel's reaction to how much contrast there is from, compared to Cuba, where he left, to America, where he is now a citizen, okay? And the whole thing is done so well. I have to say that. It really is. And it's a great concept, a great idea. But oh my gosh, it's so amazing to watch because it just shows me, okay? Maybe not you, but it shows me that I take for granted how good we actually have it here in America. Like for however many flaws there are and there, however many things there are to complain about or to bitch about that are going wrong or whatever in America, okay? The bottom line is this, is that there's a hell of a lot more diversity, acceptance, accessibility to opportunity than you're going to find in most other places. And it's so easy to take it for granted. And it's so easy to find things to complain about here, But the bottom line is that when you watch this video from this guy from Cuba, check this out, okay? They have footage of him, or like the grocery store that he went to, okay, what that's like in Cuba. And it's like outrageous, it's like you wait for days for food, like a loaf of bread or something. It's crazy, like craziness, inhuman. And he comes to America for the first time. He walks into a grocery store and he starts laughing. It's just, he's so overwhelmed by how much food is available to him right now, right in front of him. And it's colorful and brightly lit and clean. And, he's allowed to be there and he can buy whatever he wants. He's free to buy anything in the store that he wants. And it's all like, affordable and reasonably priced, and he starts out laughing, right? But then he kind of like goes quiet after a little while when it starts to sink in, that this setting he's in, this grocery store filled with groceries and well lit and clean and affordable and large and just wow, anything you could think of, that's normal. That is normal. That is humane. Get it? And he stops laughing and he starts to kind of like reflect, maybe almost cry a little bit when he realizes that he could have had it this way the whole time. His whole life could have been lived like that, rather than what he had just left behind. And he's probably thinking about the people that he loves, that he left behind, that will never experience this kind of thing. Whoa, it just knocks me over, man. This is like a major, major revelation to all people, especially right now in the world, whereas there's this push for communism, this ridiculous push for communism, and you have these people that are fleeing from communism to come to America, and they cry at the happiness they experience because life is that much better. Imagine that. Imagine that. I can't imagine that because I've always lived here and it's always been free. Yeah, there's some limitations to that. You gotta watch it. You gotta be good to each other. There are laws, there are restrictions, but for the most part, people like me, in my socio-economic status, life is pretty damn good, man. Is it perfect? Of course not. Could it be better? Sure, of course it could. Could I have more than I have right now? Sure, I could. I don't think I would necessarily be happier. And I suspect that for the most part, whatever country you look at around the world, we're all diverse and everything, but for the most part, there's probably like a guy like me, like my level, my socio-economic status, really kind of like in every country around the world. The middleman, the guy who's in the middle, not rich, not poor. I'm not wealthy, but I'm not poor. I'm comfortable, and I work hard for that. And every once in a while, I have fun. My life isn't all work all the time for slave wages and, barely enough food to survive. No. I eat what I want, when I want, what I want. I have comforts, and I can pretty much, once in a while have fun, in my life, right? And like I said, I imagine that in all the different countries around the world, there are like people that are some version of me, like at that level, right? And these are the people that are my brothers and sisters all around the world, because we're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to survive, keep food in the refrigerator and keep the lights on, have some comfort, have some fun, have a family, have a home, have some clothing that you like, comfortable clothes that are warm when it's cold outside and cool when it's hot outside, right? These are my counterparts all around the world. And these are the people who are not going to be on the news tonight. And you're never going to hear their name. You're never going to see their face. You're never going to know them, right? But they're there, and I'm here, and we're just trying to make it. And unfortunately, we all are subject to someone that is, above us or something, or has more money or more power. But the majority of the people around the world are really just trying to make it, man. They're not multimillionaires, they're not wealthy. They're just trying to make it. And this guy Yoel from Cuba was like scratching to survive there. He was a carpenter or something. He could barely get tools to do the work. Yet the work needed to get done if he wanted to eat, if he wanted to survive. But the work had to be done with the wrong tools, And for all you happy innovators out there that work with your hands, you work with tools, as well as I do, how difficult it is to do a job with the wrong tools, and the difference between the wrong tool and the right tool, the job getting done right, whatever it is you're doing, right? Well, this poor guy from Cuba, Yoel, had, eked out a living using the wrong tools to get, the substandard lifestyle. He comes to America, and you know what he wants to do first? The very first thing he wanted to do. Okay, when he came to America, the very first thing, he wanted to go to Home Depot. He wanted to see their tools. He wanted to see what was available, what kind of tools. Because, this guy left a situation where it's like, if you want to buy like a hammer, you have to wait like 6 months, if you can even find one, if you can even find a place to buy one, or if you can even have the money to buy one, because it's like like a $300 hammer now, because it's a communist nation and there's export tariffs and all that kind of stuff. You come to America, this capitalist nation, he goes into Home Depot, right? They're videotaping it, and same reaction. He's so taken aback by how much is there that he starts to laugh out loud, right? But then eventually, like at the grocery store, that laughter kind of subsides, and it starts to go deep, and he starts to go into reflection mode, and he's thinking about all the years, all the jobs he had to do with the wrong tools to make a living. Now, right before his very eyes, any tool that he could possibly think of or need is right there, and it's accessible to him. He can buy these things, and he doesn't have to wait. And it's like tears of joy, man, And happy innovators, come on, what that's like, right? To have the right tools. I don't care if you're cooking, if you're painting, if you're building a house, if you're writing a song. I don't care what it is. You need the right tools for the job. And this poor guy and people like him over there in Cuba that are barely getting by, they're surviving. They're just surviving. That's it. They come over here and they're shocked. They're shocked. And you know something? This situation, watching this video on YouTube, this guy I'll never meet, this woman I'll never know, you know what I mean? I'm watching their story, I'm hearing their words, and you want to know something? I'm almost moved to tears watching the television. can you imagine, that something could hit that hard? Oh, how much we take for granted in our lives. And the people that slag America, they say, oh, it's this and that's bad, and oh, I don't have rights, and opportunity is not there for me. Hey, you know what? That may or may not be true, depending on who you are, where you're at, and who you're subject to, okay? But for the most part, most people here, they're kind of like me. They're just right in the middle, man. They're just in the middle. And we have so much available to us. Oh, what a life to have. It's so simple and basic, right? The basic things: clean water, good food, a loving family, a warm home, nice clothes. I mean, the list isn't very long. It's kind of long, I guess. Maybe longer for some other people, but the basic things to survive and be happy, it's all available to you here. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't. It doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of status you have. You can survive. You can make it. If you're willing to put in a little bit of work, a little bit of sweat and muscle into whatever it is you want to go after, whatever it is you want to pursue, it's available to you. It's here. And like for me, my wife, and all the people I went to school with, and all the people that grew up around us, it was the same thing. It didn't matter if they were Amish. It didn't matter if they were black. It didn't matter if they were white. It didn't matter if they were Asian. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if they were Latino. It didn't matter. It's available. It's there for all of us. And, I'll say it again. For all those people around the world that are like in the same socioeconomic status that I'm in, they are my brothers and sisters. I don't care what color their skin is. I don't care where they're from. I care where they're going. I hope that they do well, but I don't care where they're from. Those are my brothers and sisters. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're willing to put in a day's work and they're willing to try and strive and try to make it, then they are my counterpart, and I am their brother, and it doesn't matter. None of the other stuff matters. The majority of those people, myself included, these are the people that don't make the evening news, man. They're not gonna be famous. You're not gonna hear their name or know their name. You're not gonna vote for them. But they're gonna be subject to the same things that you're subject to. They're all in the same boat, trying to make it, trying to survive, or working around some kind of obstacle put there by someone else. I think about that. I think about over the 5 decades of my lifetime, how much war there's been, how many bombings there have been with collateral damage. Collateral damage meaning, people that were innocent, people that were like me, that were just in their house eating dinner and they died because they got bombed or something. I have no control over that. And my counterparts, internationally, those people around the world that are like me, just trying to make it, they know that. At least I hope they do. I don't have any control over what is done to them, and they don't have any control over what is done to me. That's decided by someone else. And some other social strata, that we can't get to. But we are all in the same boat under the same yoke. And you know what? We're different too. Isn't that great? Isn't it beautiful? The differences. Culturally, ethnically. All those things that are different. I don't want everybody to be the same. I don't want everybody to be wearing, unisex jumpsuits and some futuristic utopia. I don't want that. When I go to France for the first time, man, I want it to be different than where I'm from. When I go to Brazil for the first time, I don't want it to be like Ohio. I want it to be like Brazil. I want it to be different. I want to see things and hear things and taste things that are different. Let's celebrate diversity, not challenge it. You don't rip it down. Diversity is not a bad word. Diversity is a great thing. And, there was another YouTube channel that I found that also kind of spoke to the same kind of idea. All right. There's a YouTube channel by a guy named Peter Santinello. And I believe he's from California, like San Francisco, California. And his YouTube channel is basically just videos of him traveling around the world to different cities and all sorts of different countries and different cultures. And he's talking to people like on the street level, not the politicians, not the rich people necessarily, and not just the poor people either. Just like whoever he comes across on the street, and he talks to them. And, it's like speaking to this whole thing. It's like, when you watch these videos by this Peter Santinello, you can't help but get the impression that everything I've talked about so far is absolutely true. That no matter where people are from, no matter what country they're in, however different they are, however different the countries are and the circumstances are around these people, for the most part, most people all around the world really have goodwill, and they really do want good things for other people and for themselves. They don't want any trouble. They want to survive. They want to have a life. They want to have success, and they want to be comfortable. That's all. They just want to be comfortable, And this Peter Santinello guy, he goes around, he talks to gang members in Los Angeles. He talks to, landlords in New Jersey. He talks to just regular, average, everyday people in Iran, walking on the street. And, all over the world. You name it, he's been there, And it was interesting, too. He did a particularly interesting thing about the Amish people. He went down into Amish country. Like, I've talked about that before in, that podcast I did a few months back called Amish Paradise. If you're curious or interested, you can go back and check that out and kind of get my take on all that. But, this guy, this Peter Santinello, he's really kind of getting down to the nuts and bolts, like the nitty gritty of what existence is like for these people. Not just the Amish, but everyone, all over the world, man. Canada, England, Scotland, Australia, Italy, Iran, you name it. He's been there. And he's interviewing people like on the street level. And, my wife and I are, of course, watching like video after video of this guy, because, it's addictive just to hear and watch and see and the perspective of people from other countries and what their desires are and what they want. And you realize after you hear it enough that they want the same things I want. And I want for them the same things. Like, I want them to have what I have, and they want me to have what they have. They share openly, and they're like us. They're just like us. We're all the same. We are in that way. Thank God there are some differences and some things that make us interesting or whatever. So we try things different. But again, I'll say it again, diversity is not a bad word. And it's not something that we should take for granted. And it's not something that we should just write off. Do yourself a favor and check out that Peter Santinello. And while you're at it, check out that Yoel and Marie channel too. And you see if you see the same thing I do. I'm sure you will. So when you hear like on the news, the heritage news, or, it's so hard to find any truth now. Whether it's heritage news, fake news, or whatever, the real news, the real truth is going to, and this is my prediction, of course, the real truth is going to come from people like Peter Santinello. He is the future of news, of world news. He's non-biased, open-minded. He leaves himself available, and vulnerable. He walks into these situations and where he's confronted by people that are just on the street, man. Street level. People just like us, just like him. And the conversations are harmonious. And the people are fun and happy, and he is too. Don't believe it when people try to tell you how much we hate each other and how, our differences are something that need to be eliminated. That's nonsense. It's nonsense. And if you ask me, it's just unnecessary. Unnecessary. I mean, haven't you ever had a discussion with somebody that you disagree with? And it's not a fight, especially if it's with somebody that you love, you care about. You're not going to fight with them. But, you have a difference of opinion. And there's a way to respectfully handle that difference of opinion. And you know what? Sometimes when you're in a discussion with somebody, that disagrees with you, right? You change your mind. Maybe you see things differently and your perspective changes and you rethink it. And you know what? That person who had a difference of opinion maybe changes your mind, or vice versa, right? Is that something to be condemned? No, that's something to be celebrated, especially now, I implore you, if you're a person who is in the middle, man, you're just trying to make it, you're just trying to survive, don't believe the hype. Don't buy in to all this negative talk and negative speak, and it's destructive. It's destructive. Diversity is not a bad word, and diversity is not destructive. It's constructive. Any creative person knows that. Any creative person knows that. It's a fact of life. It's part of the art life, is diversity. Not doing everything the same all the time, not only having one option. Rethinking something, going around it. You're a happy innovator. And I'm sorry if I sound particularly spirited today. I'm kind of getting into this, but ladies and gentlemen, my happy innovators, I'll tell you, I have heard over the past year or so, I have heard so much talk of negativity and turmoil and destruction and just how bad it is here in America, and it's just it needs to be torn down and rebuilt, start over again. Well, let me tell you something. That's misguided thinking and it's faulty reasoning. Okay? To anybody who has lived a life here and is out there in the world trying to get it done, trying to make it, we got it pretty good. Don't let anybody tell you different. You know what I'm saying? I had this friend of mine that I was in discussion with a few days ago. And, this friend of mine is a female American. And she's one of these people that has kind of bought into, the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times, lock, stock, and barrel. She is pro-vaccination, COVID, all that stuff, and just 100% lock, stock, and barrel, selling the story. That's what she believes, and I respect that, okay? For two reasons. One, because I love her, and two, because she's a very nice person and a very intelligent person, and three, because I accept the idea that people will have differences of opinion. However, this friend of mine, as much as I care about her, And as much as I disagree with her, the other day we kind of, started to spar a little bit verbally about things. And, it's not that I'm anti this or anti that, okay? And it's not that I totally disagree with her or something like that. But we do disagree on a lot of things. And mostly what we disagree with each other about is like this idea of, group think, that you have to follow the group, you have to follow the herd and do what everybody else is doing. And, she kind of is like, in my opinion anyway, she's one of those American citizens that has kind of lost the concept of thinking for herself, that the spirit of America, the spirit of the United States is this free spirit, the spirit of liberty and freedom, the freedom to think and the freedom to choose for yourself, and by some weird turn of events, this highly lovable, highly intelligent woman that I know has just gone round the bend, man. As far as I'm concerned, she's beyond the point of like having an opinion or something. It's like she's almost like pitching to me her politics like it's absolute truth that all people should follow and all people should believe. And as much as I care about her and as much as I respect her, man, I gotta tell you, it's starting to kind of slip a little bit. This friendship we have is starting to suffer a little bit because she just can't shut up. She lacks the ability to just shut up. She doesn't get it. Like, how do I say it? I respect your opinion. I respect your beliefs, but you're not going to change my mind about this. I was trying to explain to her the difference between like an opinion about something and a conviction about something. There's a major difference here. When you have an opinion about something, at least in my opinion, an opinion can be changed. An opinion is something that can be changed. You can be convinced to think a different way, okay? But when you're convicted about something, when you have a conviction in your mind or in your heart about something, it's a fundamental belief. It's not something that can change. I mean, I suppose to a certain extent, in some way, every idea you have or every belief you have might in some way change. And the same goes for me that, maybe, even the deeply held convictions can be changed. It's not impossible. My mind is open to that. But for the most part, the difference between a conviction and an opinion, think about that. There's light years of difference. And, we would all be doing ourselves a service by learning the difference between someone that has an opinion and someone that has a conviction about something. And that goes for politics, religion, or sports, or whatever it is, I suppose that I should probably, leave it there. I've done enough talking for one day and enough bloviating. And I would imagine that you're probably agreeing with me right now. And I don't know. God bless America, and the sacrifices, and God bless the people who came before us in whatever country you're in, whatever, social, economic status you have. Let's thank God for the people that came before us, that gave us life and gave us the civilizations that we live in, and let's be thankful for that, and let's be thankful to them, You know what? Let's just be thankful. Let's be thankful for diversity, and let's be thankful for compassion and understanding and reaching out to your fellow man. You know, it's not gone yet. It's not done yet. There's still a lot of people. I think there's a lot more of us than there are of them, you know, that just want to make it, man. Just want to survive. And you know what? They want the same for you and your family. They just want you to do okay, you know, and they want to do okay too. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what everybody wants? And isn't that what everybody should want for themselves and for each other? I think so. I think so. Yeah. So, my happy innovators, that's it for today. Can't think of anything else I really want to talk about today. This was on my mind. It was cooking for a while, and I wanted to get it out. But I'm going to leave it there, folks. Catch you in the next podcast. And this is Mike Bostwick from Pipewire Records signing off. And remember, folks, if you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Or at least be willing to share it with the person next to you. Peace be with you, happy innovators. I love you, one and all. And here's to another 100 podcasts. Peace out. Okay, all you happy innovators that stuck around to the end of the podcast to hear some music, I got something for you today. It's a little bit different. What it is a song from a band that I used to play in, a band called Slow Bob, S-L-O-B-O-B. And, I have a YouTube channel devoted to that, showcasing that music. In case you're interested, you're welcome to go and listen to it. Just type in S-L-O-B-O-B and it'll take you to these songs, this CD that this band I was in had put out. But what I'm going to share with you today is a song that we did in that band called Johnny's Appleseed. And the reason I wanted to share it with you today is because I just listened to this album again for the first time in a while, not too long ago, and I was particularly proud, of the drumming that I did on this song called Johnny's Appleseed. And I thought, you know what, instead of sharing a pipe choir song, for the next podcast, maybe what I'll do is I'll share Johnny's Appleseed with my happy innovators. I'll give you like a little bit of a snapshot of what I was doing about 25 years ago. This was a band I was in that was pretty serious, and we were really kind of hitting the road, and we were making records, and we had our own record label, and we bought a van, and we were doing it, the whole deal. And unfortunately, the band wound up breaking up right as we were kind of like finishing the writing of our second album, which was going to be phenomenal. And this song, Johnny's Appleseed, was one of those tracks. It was like a standout track to me, and I was particularly proud of the drumming. So check it out. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, my happy innovators, and talk to you next time. Peace out, everybody, and I love you one and all. So thank you so much for listening and participating in all of the Singularity podcasts that I've put out over the years. Thank you so much, everybody. Talk to you later. Enjoy the music. Peace out.